Am I the asshole? My friends got tickets for peeing and another's goldfish died because I couldn't find my car. With the hot weather, I had to get a new air conditioner, and so I went to the mall with 3 of my friends to get one. While we were there, my friend Elaine decided to get a couple of goldfish. When we got back to the parking garage, none of us could remember where I parked my car. I hid my new AC behind a car, and we all started searching. As we were looking, my friend Jerry needed to use the bathroom, and so I suggested he just sneak behind one of the cars. Elaine also began worrying her goldfish would run out of air in the bag. We checked multiple floors and still couldn't find the car. We split up to divide and conquer, and at this point, if it could go wrong, it did. Jerry finally decided to pee behind a car and got caught by security. While the 3 of us were searching without Jerry, George also had to pee, so I suggested he just go behind a car too, and we kept searching without him. Turns out he was caught by security and ticketed as well. Elaine, Jerry, and George happened to meet back up, convinced someone to drive them around the garage, and found my car. However, they couldn't find me. It took me so long to get the AC and find my car that by the time I got back, Elaine's fish had died.
Am I the asshole for demanding my widowed sister-in-law and her kids to leave? I'm a father of a 16-year-old daughter. I own a 1-bathroom, middle-sized house where me, my wife, her sister, and her 2 kids live. My daughter had issues with their mother and requested to live with me permanently. She moved in a month ago and her stepmom get along. So far, everything's good. My daughter had her period days ago and my sister-in-law came to me complaining about my daughter leaving used pads in the bathroom. She said that her son saw them and I asked exactly where and she said in the trash can. I laughed in her face asking if she thought this was strange. She got upset and explained that her boys are young and shouldn't be subjected to witness stuff like that. I talked to my daughter and she said she wraps them with toilet paper, which is enough. Sister-in-law got mad saying I was dismissing her concerns and reminded me that her oldest has blood phobia and my daughter was unintentionally leaving her pads exposed. I welcomed any ideas and she suggested my daughter throw her pads outside. I stopped arguing because of how ridiculous she was being. She threatened to change the bathroom door lock, but I laughed her off. My daughter called the next day saying her aunt refused to let her use the bathroom and was keeping it locked. I went home and blew up on my sister-in-law. She said she would have allowed her if she agreed to put her pads elsewhere, but my daughter was stubborn. My wife came to calm us down, but I told sister-in-law I have no problem kicking her out. I demanded she leaves, but my wife said it's unfair to the kids, and I bluntly said it's not my problem and she has 6 days to move out. Am I the asshole for threatening legal action against my mother? I have a complicated relationship with my parents, and as I've gotten older, it's gotten worse. Recently, my grandpa passed away and I inherited $125K. When I was told I inherited it, I was excited that I'd be able to afford my dream school. When I tried to get the money transferred to my college savings, I encountered a problem: my mother. She has this idea that since I was the oldest, I would have to pay her back everything, including the medical expenses from before I was 4. I went to ask her to transfer the money into my college savings account, but she refused, claiming that it was rightfully hers because of all that she's done for me. To say I was mad was an understatement. All through my life, she would go into my room and steal. She'd steal cash I had or money that I won from sporting competitions and would cash it for herself. When I was 13, I decided to start keeping a notebook of all the money I'd earned. When I added everything up, including the money from my grandpa, it was about $250K. That's a lot of money for an 18-year-old to imagine, but I saw everything as purely college savings. I went to my mother with a notebook, records of all transactions she made throughout my account, and went through everything with her. First, she was confused, but when she saw the magical grand total, she went nuts. She yelled that was hers since she spent more than that on my medical bills. She destroyed the papers, but I had copies. I sent her an email laying out that I either wanted everything she'd stolen or I would take legal action.
Am I the asshole for kissing and liking my best friend's crush? Last summer, me and my best friend and this guy, I'll call him Ryan, were always together. Me and my best friend always thought Ryan was super cute, and I told her I used to have a crush on him. Well, Ryan and I started hanging out without my best friend a lot more. And things started getting more intense between us, and I started to catch feelings again. We were cuddling in my bed one day, and I really wanted to kiss him, so I grabbed his phone out of his hand and went in for a kiss, and he went in for it too. Every time we hang out alone, we kiss, but we don't tell my best friend. We were both super close with her, but I felt really weird telling her and making it super awkward between all of us. So one day, I was in a big group of people, including Ryan and my best friend, and my best friend asked if we could talk alone. So we went and sat on a bench further away from the group. And she told me she liked him, and I kind of just sat there awkwardly staring at her. I was in complete shock because she never showed any interest. I told her what happened between me and Ryan and how I caught feelings again, and she got super mad at me. But I don't feel like it's my fault because I had no idea. So
Am I the asshole for leading the way out of a house fire and making sure the way was safe? I, 30s male, was at a birthday party for my girlfriend's son. There was family, friends, food, and even a clown for the little guy. While in the kitchen, I noticed a fire start to break out. My natural leadership instincts immediately kicked in. I, very bravely, decided to be the champion the party needed and led everyone out safely down the hallway and stairs of the apartment building. In order to do this, I had to squeeze past a few of the partygoers. I will admit, in my haste, I may have put a little bit too much heroic strength into the gentle nudge I was using to clear my path. This resulted in a few of the partygoers being knocked onto the floor. Caught in the crossfire was my girlfriend, a few of the kids, the clown, and my girlfriend's elderly mother. After everything was deemed to be safe, the EMTs outside were berating me, soon to be joined by my girlfriend, her mother, and the clown. I tried to explain that I was being a leader, but my girlfriend Robin said that she heard me scream, quote, "Get out of my way!" Tried to explain that if the leader died, then all hope would be lost. My survival was imperative. When questioned about pushing people to the ground, I merely explained that the safest place to be in a fire is on the floor away from the smoke. Am I the asshole here? Edit, the fire was a grease fire, and the clown put it out by using his big shoe. However, I still feel that I should be commended for being the beacon of leadership in an otherwise frightening situation.
Am I the asshole for calling my parents thieves for taking the money I saved for my 16th birthday and spending it on new sneakers for my autistic sister? I don't get to celebrate my birthday every year because my parents can't afford it. I got myself a summer job and saved money for my sweet 16th birthday since my parents won't be doing anything for me this year. Yesterday I discovered that my mom took the $120 I saved and hid under the bed like she always does. She said she was keeping it safe and we'll talk after she gets home since she, my dad, and my autistic sister were out. I waited till they got back and my sister started cheerfully telling me to look at the new sneakers my parents got her. I asked my mom for my money, but she said she spent it on new sneakers for my sister. I was like, what? She wanted the sneakers, but they didn't have the money to buy them and stopped her from having a meltdown in the middle of the store and refusing to leave. I angrily told him that was my money saved for my upcoming birthday party. He promised he'll pay me back next month and I can have my birthday party and invite friends over. I said my birthday isn't next month and my friends will laugh if I told them it's postponed. He replied I should reconsider who I'm friends with. I asked them to return them. He said no and I said they're both thieves. He said you're getting on my last nerve and I'm not going to take your shit no more. No party for you. Not next week, not next month, and you're grounded. Mom approved his message.
Am I the asshole for disowning my brother after he came out as gay for how he's treating his wife? I, a 21-year-old female, have a brother who's a 28-year-old male who came out as gay last month. He's been married to my best friend's sister, who's 24, for 4 years. They have 2-year-old twin daughters together. I'm really close with her, so I've been trying to stay neutral in what has become a messy separation. He said he is now sure that he feels romantic feelings for men and also told her he has been sleeping with random men from Grindr for over a year behind her back. She obviously freaked out and asked him how he could do this and why didn't he tell her when he first started having the feelings. He said that he always thought he was gay, but he didn't want to come out because it would affect his career. She asked him what about the effect on her life. She is now a single mother with 2 toddlers, who was essentially very angry that she wasn't supportive of him. So he kicked her out of the house with the kids. After she eventually found a place to stay, my brother moved in with one of the men he had been having an affair with. Since then, he has had very little contact with the kids, as in speaking to them on the phone once a week, maybe. He has expressed that he still doesn't want to be public about coming out, so he posted on Facebook that he has separated from his wife because they aren't in love anymore and hinted she was the unfaithful one, posting things like, yeah, seems like someone in this relationship wasn't satisfied with just one man and is basically just being a dick. I told him that I get you have to come out on your own time, but you didn't need to kick her out, ignore your kids, and berate her. And you don't need to make comments that people will assume mean that she's being unfaithful. He said that this was a joke, but it's still effed up. He said I'm being a homophobic a-hole and that I don't know how hard it is to come out. He said that if I don't accept him, I'm a bigot. He said maybe he made some mistakes, and I said maybe I will forgive him when he improves his behavior to his wife, and he said he resents her for keeping him from sleeping with men for years. What? I gave up at this point. My sisters, who are 17 and 24, both think I'm being homophobic. My mom agrees with me. Am I the a-hole?
I'd like to begin with some background information. My girlfriend and I have been together for a little more than a year. She spends roughly 75% of her time at my place. We haven't had any serious issues at the moment. Well, up until this point. We were watching TV in the living room on Saturday night when we heard a tremendous hammering and shouting at the front door. We both stopped, frightened, like someone broke into our house. My first thought was to contact the cops, but upon peering through the curtains, I saw that it was the cops. I was completely perplexed at this point. I don't sell, make, or consume drugs or do anything illegal. There are no firearms in my home. I don't do anything illegal online, and I certainly don't pirate Game of Thrones. I had no idea why they were banging on my door at 11 PM on a Saturday night. When I opened the door, they asked for permission to search the property right away. They didn't respond when I asked them why they thought that was necessary. As a result, I declined them to provide the permission. My girlfriend urged me to cooperate on several occasions. I refused and informed them that if they wanted to enter the residence, they needed to produce a warrant. They then told me that they had probable cause to search my home, regardless of how I felt about the issue, and that their request was really a formality. They took my girlfriend and myself into different rooms and began questioning us as soon as they entered my residence. When your local PD is backwater and bad enough, probable cause may be virtually anything. I keep insisting they should show me a warrant, but apparently warrants aren't even a thing anymore. I demanded to see their actual license, because this could be a disguise. However, they are real, which made me even more confused. I was adamant about not answering any questions. If I got arrested, I told them I wanted a lawyer. I continually stated that I didn't consent to any searches of my property and repeatedly inquired as to what the probable cause was. There was nothing obvious, thank you Breaking Bad, and that they had no right to invade my privacy. My partner, on the other hand, was constantly talking. Because she was in the next room, I didn't hear much, but I overheard her say, "Check out the shed in the rear yard. I've never been inside before, so I'm not sure what's inside." What the fuck is she doing, was all I could think at the time. So the cops searched the shed, and they found nothing. I mean, remember, I'm not a criminal. And they departed after an hour and 100 questions. When I inquired why she would try and assist them in locating criminal activities in my home, she could only say that she was terrified and she didn't know what to do. I don't require legal assistance. My mum works as a paralegal and has lots of contacts in the legal field. She's enraged by the police's actions, and she hasn't even heard what my girlfriend said to them. I'm furious with my partner for saying something so ridiculous, but all she can say in response is, "I panicked and I didn't know what to do." What I really need is another perspective on why someone would throw their significant other under the bus like that. Is this something that you think you can work through, or is this a significant red flag? Should I tell her about this? The whole story was a big surprise to me, and none of us wanted this to happen. But this could be something that troubled our relationship so far, so help.
Today, I effed up by staying the night at my boyfriend's and taking a massive, burly-ass poop that, for the love of God, won't go down the drain.
Oh my god, bro. How big is that poop?
To fill you in, I am a 5-foot college student with a reasonable digestion system that occasionally decides to F me over when I'm in the presence of company. That's very unfortunate. Quick backstory. I decided to live at my boyfriend's hostel where girls aren't allowed after 9 p.m. because I love him and want to spend time with him.
Oh, it's like a regular Romeo and Juliet. They're not supposed to be together, but they're damn gonna try.
We also have a truckload of assignments to be finished and submitted by the next day, and it's fun to have company while working. I am also on my period and my stomach has been acting up, but little did I know it was for some other reason. Yes, foreshadowing.
Uh-oh.
So I'm casually sitting and working, and suddenly nature calls. I rush into the bathroom, hoping to lose weight. Now I'm sitting there humming and expecting blood to flow when all of a sudden, boom, a massive burly-ass crap just falls out of me.
I'm gonna poop a little burly man.
I think, oh well, now I can concentrate better on my work. As I get it from the pot, flush, I see a brown dash of color on the white commode from the side of my eye. And then it dawns on me that I've taken a crap that refuses to get flushed. I look for a bucket to fill water in and pour it into the pot, but there is no bucket because someone had stolen it. Why would you steal a bucket from a bathroom?
Bro.
Who steals a bucket from a bathroom?
And what are you doing with that bucket too? That bucket's dirty.
I decided to try again and wait for the water tank to refill and flush again. Yes, this poop is an integral part of my life now. It's still floating like it's a tube in the swimming pool of a rich person living in Hollywood.
Wow.
I try again. She is still there. It is close to midnight, and something evil is lurking in this pot. Now I'm panicking because I've flushed about 3 times, and it still refuses to go down. I decide to confess to my boyfriend, who is concerned since I started flushing 3+ times to get rid of it. He then laughs and gets up to check the situation out, at which point I decide to fight him because I'm embarrassed, since I generally don't take burly-ass dumps. And this just had to happen in the house of the man that I love. After a bit, we both try flushing down the piece of crap, but it was stubborn and doesn't go down.
She's a stubborn one.
She is a
will
stubborn
not go
one.
down without a fight.
At this point, we flushed well over 6 or 7 times, and I want to just hide in the corner, and never show my face again because of the abomination that I've unleashed into this pot.
I'm almost like imagining Pandora's box, but like Pandora's poop box. Pandora's poop.
Pandora's butthole.
Opened onto the world. Yeah.
My boyfriend then suggests to fill up an empty dustbin with water and then pour it into the pot. Obviously, that works, and the piece of crap is now rested in peace and probably clogging a different pipe. It's been half an hour, and neither of us can stop laughing about how I, a 5-foot person, gave birth to one of the nastiest, burliest, and most aggressive dumps of all time.
I'm allergic to fish and seafood. It's not the anaphylactic type of allergy, thank goodness, so I'm not gonna die. I'm just gonna throw up or have a stomach ache or massive headache for a few hours. But my mother didn't believe it when I was a child, and I was too little to stand up to her properly. She'd forced me to eat stuff with seafood in it to prove I wasn't allergic, and then ignore me when I got sick. One day, she held a dinner party. I was dressed up beautifully and trotted out to parade before the guests. At the time, I was about 9, precautious for my age, and absolutely fed up with my mother making me sick. So when she held out a fish cutlet for me to eat, I saw my chance. I can't eat that. I'm allergic to fish. No, you're not. Eat it. I'm allergic. I'll throw up. She grabbed the fish cutlet and shoved it into my mouth, and I vomited on her expensive carpet and my dress. She never made me eat it again. Tales from retail. So I come from a Dutch background, and I'm nowhere near fluent in the language, but I know enough that I can pick up on a few words and sentences. So about 8 years ago, I was helping a customer needing some paint made. As I'm mixing it, her phone rings and she answers it, and she's speaking in Dutch. As she's talking to the person on the other side of the phone, I can pick up that she's saying, I have one of these dumb young workers mixing it. I see nothing. I decided to wait till the right moment as I mix her paint, and she continues talking. And when her paint is done, I hand it to her. She says thank you, and in Dutch, I say, you're welcome, goodbye. She froze with her mouth open. You speak Dutch? And since I didn't want to let on how little I knew, I just said, yeah.